Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to explain what a quadratic is and how we can go about factorizing quadratics. Now, first off, what do we mean when we're saying something is a quadratic? Now, quadratic is a specific term used to describe an algebraic expression that has an x squared term. For example, we can have x squared plus 5x plus 3. So when we see this x squared, then we know that this is a quadratic. And graphically, on a graph here, where we have the y and the x-axis, it'll typically look something like this. Okay? But for this video, we're just going to be taking a look at the algebra of quadratics and how to factorize them. Let's take a look at this first example here. We want to factorize this quadratic, okay? And that means having a big part and breaking it down into smaller pieces. So our first step with factorizing a quadratic is to find the factors of this term right here, the 10. Not the x and not the x squared, but the term on the end that doesn't have an x next to it. So that would be 1 and 10, because 1 times 10 is 10, and that would be 2 and 5. These are the two combinations to make 10, 2 and 5 and 1 and 10. Okay? Step 2 would be finding what numbers add to give 7, or sum to give 7. So that would be 1 and 6, 2 and 5, and 3 and 4. So this is with our 10, and this is with our 7, okay? These are adding, and these are multiplying, okay? Now, the trick is, when we want to factorize a quadratic, we want to find what two numbers that are in both of these lists that multiply to give 10, but add to give 7, okay? So in this case, 2 times 5 is 10, but 2 plus 5 is 7, and that works with our original quadratic. So we will write this in this form. We're going to have one bracket and another bracket here, okay? This will make more sense later, but quadratics will usually have two brackets as such. So we're going to have an x term and an x term, and we're going to see this sign is positive and this sign is also positive. So we're going to write our two factors here, 2 and 5, in this bracket, plus 2 and plus 5. Now, to make sure we've done this factorization correctly, we're going to expand these brackets. Now, when we expand a double bracket as such, we need to make sure that we're multiplying every term with every other term in the bracket. So we're going to start with our first term here, x. So x will first be multiplied by x here, and that will give us x squared. Then we're going to multiply x with 5, okay? And that will give us plus 5x. Now we're going to go on to our second term. We're going to do 2 times x, which is plus 2x, and 2 times by 5 is going to give us 10. And when we simplify this, we get x squared plus 7x plus 10. And if that matches with the original quadratic, you've done it correctly. Let's take a look at another example here. Here we have x squared plus 2x minus 15. This is a bit different now because we have a minus sign and a positive sign. So, step 1, like usual, we're going to find the factors of 15. 1, 15, 3, and 5. So it's only two combinations still. Now we're going to find what adds to give 2. But if you notice here that 1 can be negative or 15 can be negative when they're being multiplied, okay? So this could be minus 3 times by 5 or minus 5 times by 3. But we still don't know yet. What will let us know this fact is what will give us sum of 2. So if we take a look at this 3 and 5 here, we notice that if we have 5 minus 3, we get 2. All right, so the sum of 5 plus minus 3 will give us 2. So our two factors will have to be 5 and minus 3 then. Because if we have minus 5, plus 3, that will give us only minus 2. And that is not the same as positive 2. So let's go with our two factors here, 5 and minus 3. So let's write our double bracket once again. Okay, and we'll have, this is the same in every single quadratic. You always have the x terms right here on the left. And then you're going to write your factors in here. So we're going to have x. It doesn't matter if you put x minus 3 here or here. It will be multiplied anyway. So minus 3 and x plus 5. Now to prove that we've done this correctly, we're going to have x times by x, which will give us x squared, x times by 5, which is plus 5x, minus 3 times by x is minus 3x, and minus 3 times by 5 is minus 15. We simplify this, so we get x squared, 5 minus 3 is 2, so plus 2x minus 15, which indeed matches our original quadratic. Let's take a look at one final example. We have x squared minus 1. And if you notice, there is no x term here, because normally we've seen x squared plus an x plus c, a constant or a number. But in this case, there is no x term. That means the coefficient, and coefficient means the number in front of a variable. That is a good definition to know. So if the coefficient in front of the x term is 0, then it cancels out, or it equals 0, so we don't need to write it. So x squared minus 1 is the same thing as x squared plus 0x minus 1. And this again is the normal quadratic form. So let's find, step 1, the factors of minus 1. So minus 1, the factors are 1 and 1. But remember, a negative 1 times negative 1 will give us 1. And 1 times 1 is positive 1. So one has to be negative, or the other one has to be positive for this to equal negative 1. And if we add minus 1 plus 1, that will give us 0, okay? Because if this was 1 plus 1, that would give us 2, and negative 1 plus negative 1 is equal to negative 2. So negative 1 and 1 are our factors. So let's write this in the double bracket, x and x, and we're going to write minus 1 and plus 1. To make sure we've done this right, we're going to expand this. That gives us x squared plus x minus x, and minus 1. And as you can see, the minus x and the plus x cancel out. And that's what leaves us with this quadratic. So we get x squared minus 1. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.